So one of the best meals I've ever cooked at my house is a chuck roast cooked in an enamel coated cast iron Dutch oven like this one right here. And that's what we're doing today. That's actually 2 chuck roasts, and I'm going to pick one of them and decide which one we're going to use today, and then we're going to put the rest of this stuff in there, and then we're going to cook it in the Ninja Foodi XL Pro air frying oven, which is really impressive. One of the reasons I bought it is because it's so versatile. I mean, this is a 7-quart Dutch oven. It'll go in there and it'll do this perfect. You'll see what I mean in just a second. I'm John Sanders, also known as Jelly 007. Let's cook a chuck pot roast in the Ninja Foodi XL oven. Okay, here is the roast I picked out. Again, it's a USDA choice chuck roast. It is barely over 3 pounds. It's 3 pounds and a half of an ounce. So that's close to 3 pounds, which is about the limit, I would say, for the 7-quart Dutch oven I've got. That's about 2 pounds of potatoes. That's about 10 ounces of mushrooms. And by the way, I'm going to just put them in by look and feel. I may not use them all, but that gives you an idea of what I'm starting with. 4 cloves of garlic, 1 onion, a stalk of celery, and some carrots. Now, the roast came from Costco, and so did the potatoes, the mushrooms, and the carrots. And I think the rest of it I kind of got elsewhere. But anyhow, I'm going to get some of this started. The first thing I'm going to do is a method I use for the oven to sear with. Now, there's better ways, and you can set up an induction cooker and sear a lot better than what I'm about to do. But I've done this one time before, and it worked okay for me. It's not perfect, but it works, and it kind of keeps me from having to get anything else out. So what I'm about to do is set the Dutch oven in here at 450 degrees and get it really hot. And then I'm going to have this ready. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on it, get it dried off real well, and we're going to drop it in and let it sear after I put also a little avocado oil. So I'll be back when the oven's hot. Okay, so I've got the Dutch oven in there without the lid, by the way, at 450 degrees, and I'm just going to let it run until I get all of this ready. Now, the potatoes I'm going to put in at a different time, so I don't have to worry with them right now. But as far as the roast, I've already sprayed it with avocado oil and put a little salt on it. I sprayed a little avocado oil on the bottom of that Dutch oven also. Okay, I've got everything cut up and ready. Garlic pressed, onions cut up. I got more than this than I'll probably need, but I've got another roast that you saw, so I'll keep those for that. So all I'm going to do right now, it's been in there for 30 minutes. I had a few other things I had to do. So we're about to drop it and see how well it sears. And I try and put it to one side to where I got the other side to flip over on, but I'm honestly just going to put it right in there and close it right back up. Let it count down to about, I don't know, a minute or two, and then we're going to flip it. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, right there's about a minute and a half. Let's just see how it looks, because it's going to be fine. And it's all right. You can see it's brown. I'll have to show you when we get it out if you can't see it now, because that thing is hot. But it's browned a little bit. Just, you know, it's not like searing on a stove top. I said when I go induction cooktop, that's what I use. I have one. I use it quite often. I just found it's not necessary doing this. This works fine. But a stove top, anything, you can put that in there and sear it that way. But this works. I'll be back. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. That's about another minute and a half. So what I'm going to do, we're going to let all this cool down a little bit, because we're obviously not going to cook this roast at that temp. I'm just going to put that, well, I'll show you how it looks if I can without dropping it. It's got a little bit of brown. I mean, it's not spectacularly seared, but it's got a little browning. And that's really, the searing part, I'm a little more on the lines of the browning. It gives it a lot of flavor. So I'm going to put my other glove on maybe. Let's see if I can do it like this. And I'm going to close this up and turn it off, because I don't want it going back to 450 by no means. We're going to 275 in just a second. But I've got to put the stock in there and cool that down just a little bit. As a matter of fact, let's do that. This will kind of help clean out those bits and pieces in the bottom and cool it down a little bit. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to start building the roast. So, right there is good enough for now. We'll add the rest in a minute. I'll get my act together and I'll be right back. Okay, so the next step is just take something and try and get like the bits and pieces off the bottom of of your Dutch oven or whatever you're using. Not a crisis if you don't get it all, and you can get it all or most of it and you're good. I'm gonna put the onions in next because I'm gonna have them as the bottom to kind of hold the roast up for whatever reason. It probably won't, but it makes me feel better. So I'm going to put those in. I love onions, but I love them cooked completely. So they're definitely going in now. Here is the 4 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to put those in just like that. And I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of kitchen bouquet. This has never been used. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to take this glove off to unseal it. No, that's got to... So 1 teaspoon, just like that, and that will add some excellent flavor. If you ask me, a lot of people won't really, I mean, some people won't realize it, but a teaspoon is a good bit. You can cut that in half, but I love it, so I put a teaspoon. The next is some of the mushrooms, just a few things to put on the bottom, and some of the carrots and some of the celery. I mean, common sense. That's all we're doing right now is putting a few things on the bottom to kind of hold the roast up off the bottom, and I guess there's a good reason for it. I ain't positive, but it's what I've always done, so it's what I'm doing now. And now I'm just going to continue to do that right there around it. So I'm going to take this off and put a few more mushrooms. And you got to remember now, potatoes are going in a little while, so I'll have to kind of jostle them around when they go in. So you kind of got to keep that in mind. That's got to happen in a little while. Carrots, if you ask me, need to cook quite a while. So that's about all of them I'm going to use. And I'm going to go ahead and put these mushrooms in because they'll be fine. So I'm going to put a little bit of pepper and the rest of that cooking stock. And we're going to call this ready to go back in. And again, this is a excellent Sunday dinner meal. And it always impresses people. So, and we'll come back. Like I said, I'll explain the potatoes when we're doing it. I'm going to put that one in. Got to find my lid. Put the lid on. I'm going to set up the oven. I'm going to leave it on whole roast. No reason to change it that I see. And we're going to take it to 275. And then we're going to set that. Hang on just a minute. We're going to set this to 275. And we're going to cook it. What I'll probably do is cook it for 3 hours right there. 2.5 maybe. I'll tell you what. We'll go 2.5 hours. And then I'll open it, add the potatoes, raise it to 300, and go from there. So right now, all we got to do is set the time to 2.5 hours. And there we go. And we are off and running. I'll see y'all back when that happens, when that gets done, and when we add these potatoes. Whoa, wait a minute. I had actually already completely uploaded this video and I ran into a little problem, and here's why. Because I say this command right here. I thought it would be okay. But while I was playing it back, my own phone went to that command that I'm not going to say again. I've taken it out, so you'll hear a blank spot in audio, and you'll see this word. I'll have it come up at the bottom. But right there is the command I am about to use. One thing I'm going to do, though, this helps me a lot in the kitchen, and it sounds a little gadgety and a little overkill, but take my word, you'll be surprised I can go do whatever I want to when I do this right here. When I say, hey, start a timer for 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Okay, I've started it.
And as you can see, there it goes. Now, I can go do what I want to, and it'll alert me, and 5 minutes before this is ready for me to add my potatoes, my watch will let me know. Anyhow, I'll see y'all in a minute. All right, we're coming up on the end of the 2.5 hours where I'm going to pull that out. We're going to add these potatoes and see what else it needs. We got to look at it and see how it looks and see what we got. And there we go. Open it up. Take this right here out. I'll go ahead and close this back to get it out of the way. I'm going to have somewhere to set this, but let's just see what we got. Oh yeah, it's looking right. In fact, I'm going to set that right there. I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like an excellent pot roast. Now what we got to do is add those potatoes, kind of submerge them a little bit, and that's all there is to it. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to put them in and take a look at it and kind of go by look and feel. And like I said, I do want to submerge those potatoes. And that is a full 2 pounds. And you wouldn't have to use all. I mean, you could slack it up, especially on some of those carrots and celery I did, but take my word, it's there. There's no, there's no reason not to use them. I mean, I bought them at Costco, the carrots anyhow, and you know how many carrots you get when you buy something at Costco. So the roast dough is looking excellent. Right there it is. So I'm gonna put that right there, and I may drop a few more carrots and on there just to kind of get an idea of what they look like after an hour and a half or so, because what I'm gonna do now, after an hour or so, I'm going to start checking the temps on those potatoes. I'm going to be looking for around 200. So there's no reason. I mean, there's no reason. I got plenty. So I'm going to put a few carrots on top and a little bit of celery just because I can. If no other reason, it's not going to hurt. And like I said, I have plenty. So we'll leave it at that right there. All right, I'll get my glove back on. And, in fact, I better put them both on. I'm going to need them. And you can see that roast has already got that gelatinous look to that fat right there, which is my favorite thing in the world. When I open it back up, put this in, just like that. I'm going to take the temp to 300, which is up 25 degrees from where we've been cooking it all along. Just because I've added those cold potatoes, I'm going to take the time to an hour and a half, and we're going to go by the temp of those potatoes. So we are off and running, and I hope you can see what I did. But anyhow, like I said, I put the temp to 300, the time to an hour and a half. Okay, so I decided to let an hour and 15 minutes pass because of so many potatoes I put in there. And I said cold potatoes, but I meant just room temperature potatoes. Either way, we're going to take a look right now, see what those potatoes are at, and we might take a look, obviously, at the roast. So here we go. Oh, it looks good. It looks real good. So let's see what the potatoes measure out, and then I'll let y'all have a little better look. Here's one of the right here. Wow, maybe I should have went with the hour. I'm at 207 right there. This one's a little larger, 204. Well, the lowest number I saw in that one was 204, but right now I'm getting 209. So needless to say, those potatoes are done. In fact, that's pretty close to perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let all this rest just a minute. Let me let you see it. I'm going to let it rest just a little bit, and then we're going to obviously eat some of it, but it's going to rest. I'm going to let it rest 30 minutes or so. Let it cool down a little bit. So I'll be back. Okay, I wanted to show you that I moved it to a serving dish, but you could easily serve it right out of here and store it and reheat it in here. But I moved it out there. You can see all the stuff that it would normally look like if it stayed in this pot. But for pictures and all, I wanted to get it on a serving dish. And we're fixing to cut some of it and eat it. So that's what matters. I'll be back. Okay, so for a better look at it, I'll let you see it just like you would serve it. I mean, like I said, you could leave it in that Dutch oven. But here is what matters. I haven't attempted to cut it or anything, but you can see I'm cutting it with a fork, and I guarantee you I'm going to be able to pull that right there out, just like that. And this is why I love a chuck roast. And I'm telling you, if you're cooking roast and you're doing something besides chuck roast, in my honest opinion, and I really do mean it, you're doing the wrong roast. As far as beef, if you ask me, it has to be a chuck roast. And they're a little more pricey, but to be honest with you, I looked at that. They're not that much more expensive. But look at here. Here's a potato. The potato is perfect. Everything about them are. And the next day, they're even better. But I mean, the carrots, I mean, you know how you like your carrots. I don't like a firm carrot, nor does celery. Baby doll really doesn't like celery in it. And but she will tolerate it. The mushrooms, now they'll get gone here first. That is one of the first things that gets gone. The onions you hardly can see anymore, but that's the way, well, me and Baby doll both like them. We don't like raw onions. But you can see, I mean, I don't have to show you much more. That is, if you ask me, I just don't know. This is one of the best Sunday dinners. You'll get more compliments on. I remember one of the first ones I ever cooked. I'll go this right quick. Somebody walked up to it. I mean, they didn't even know I heard them. And they said, they opened it up and were looking at it and they said, Martha Stewart. And to me, that was the biggest compliment I'd ever got. Now, that was 10 or 15 years ago. And I had done it in my normal oven, which you can do this same recipe in your normal oven if that's what, you know, it's the same thing. That's my point. This oven, this Ninja does, it will replace an oven or add one to your kitchen. You know, it really is. It does the same thing. So I'm going to get off of that. I will say, you will not beat. That right there is a family pleaser every time. Anyhow, hey, I love y'all all. Make sure I'm getting this frame. I'm going to back it up a little bit. And y'all come back to see me, of course. Hit me with a thumbs up if you can. And like I said, this is it's one of the reasons I kind of love this oven or push this oven. Now, nobody's paying me. I'm not affiliated with anyone, anywhere, any way, shape, form, or fashion at all. It's because it'll do this kind of stuff. And it does a turkey in an hour and something, whatever my video was, hour and 10 minutes. But anyhow, I promise you, you try this recipe, you're going to love it. Again, use chuck roast now. Don't buy none of the other stuff. Just go straight to chuck roast and let it be done. I'm going to shut up and get off of here. Y'all have a good night. I love y'all all. Come back to see me, and bye-bye.